Hey guys, welcome back. I'm going to grab a couple of things while you guys are joining us and give you guys a few minutes to jump on with us. And meanwhile, I'm going to grab a couple of extra products for our projects this evening. I'll be right back. I left my Mr. Bottle on the other side of the garage as I was working on some pieces on the other side of my work area. So, of course, I had to run get them, that being that I was missing my Mr. Bottle. So I like to have that with me in case I get a little further along. I want to have that during this broadcast. So I'm going to wait a few moments. I know I'm a few minutes behind, but hopefully we will have some people jump on with us as we begin our workshop. So if you are joining us for the first time, my name is Kimberly. I am a furniture artist for Dixie Belle Chalk Paint. My business is Unique Finds and Furniture Designs in Kernersville, North Carolina, and we welcome you and thank you for being with us tonight in our broadcast. One thing I forgot was a bottle of water. That always happens when I get on. I always forget to have that with me. You can see in the on the screen that we have several different projects sitting here waiting for us to get going on, and the reason for having multiple products is to kind of give you guys a good idea of how we're going to be working on some of these pieces, the different techniques that you'll need for each different piece. And so we have multiple things going on at one time, as you guys know we usually do. So I wanted to touch on a few things with our stores where some of our products are located for the Dixie Belle paint products and Prima Design transfers and all that good stuff that we do have. I want you guys to be aware that at this time, the majority of those locations are open. Obviously, they will be working with the health department on knowing how many people can be in the building at a time and that sort of thing. I know I reshared a post from Just Plain Country today so that you guys could kind of see what they were doing down there. They're limiting their staff, so they have a few people on the floor as staff goes, and so they're able to, and this is probably going to be jointly across the board with the other small businesses where we have our products, being Cooper's Vintage Village, the Nook and Cranny, and Just Plain Country. You might have to check with each individual location, but as far as we know at this point, due to this virus that's going around, they are limiting the amount of people on the floor. So that means they're limiting the staff, they're limiting the amount of time vendors like myself are in there. Now vendors like myself to give shopping over to the consumer. We are kind of staying out of our booths and giving you guys the floor. So we will be in there, we will make sure that they are restocked, and then we will be out so that you guys will have the opportunity to still run in, get your paint, and so you can do your little projects at home. So it'll be limiting the number of people just for the safety factor for everyone, so for the distance and things of that nature. So they kind of have to abide by those kind of regulations, rules and regulations, very much so like the school is done and things of that nature. So just kind of bearing that in mind, we won't necessarily be living in our booths and being there all the time, but we will make sure the product is there, we'll make sure it's stocked, and we'll make sure that you guys have the products that you need to get in. At this point, you guys know our products come out of Florida. So if we run into any issues, we will let you know. So far, we've been okay. I did get a shipment in this week, so I did restock. So those locations do have product. You can also message me if it's necessary that if one of these particular locations happens to be closed or they announce that they're going to be closed, just let me know. I will be able to pick up that product. I'll be able to meet you somewhere, ship it to you, or deliver. Either way, it just really is your preference, and however I can help you guys stay busy while you're kind of inside, kind of self-quarantining yourselves And so I'm more than happy to do that for you guys, and I'm sure our stores are more than happy. So if you don't see a lot of us in the parking lot or actually staying in our booths at all the times, kind of living in there and doing stuff, it's because we are trying to limit the amount of people in the building. We're coming in, we're getting it stocked, and we're walking out so that you guys can come in and have the floor and still feel confident that you can go in and get your things. So just so you guys know that, I wanted to touch on that because I did share that again. I'll refresh that. I did share that earlier today with Just Plain Country at Walnut Cove and their policies and how they're doing it. From what I understand, Cooper's Vintage Village is doing the same thing. They are, going to, follow these guidelines. And so we, like I say, we won't be in there as much, but we will have your products there for you. So no worries about that. And it's kind of good to have something to do to kind of keep our minds busy. So I shared that video with Miss Kathy over at Just Plain Country. It's a good idea. A couple people on the floor. All their vendors are gone and we're out of there. We're giving you guys the floor so you guys can shop, and that's the best approach. And so our products will be there for you, and we will stay out of our booth so that you guys can have the opportunity to do your thing. And so that way you can grab your products and you can come home and you can continue to do your pieces. So if you're joining us again for the first time, thank you for joining our broadcast. Thank you for being a part of our weekly videos, and we are going to get started. So we always do sort of a start to finish video. You guys have seen them on our YouTube channel. You've seen them on our Facebook page. You've seen them on probably on my Pinterest page, as well as my website. So I have several pieces here because I wanted to kind of touch on several different things. Our last video was on doing the medium density fiberboard, which was working on the cabinetry. So we did do our cabinet class on our last video. So this is the medium density fiberboard that you see in a lot of mobile homes and campers and that sort of thing. So, or in some older homes even. So I was showing you guys how to go about refacing these without having to go buy new cabinets. So this was our last video. If you guys missed this video, it is over on our YouTube channel at The Vintage Queen, as well as on our Facebook page. You can jump back over and see how we were able to come in here, and this was wet all along the edge of this. That's why you see that it was sanded, is because the medium density fiberboard swells when it gets wet. And so that's normally the biggest problem when you're dealing with cabinets in older homes or in your mobile homes and your campers, things like that. So I have a lot of friends that have campers. This is the time of year where they're getting ready to go hang out at the campgrounds and things like that. I have several of my ladies have completely redone all of their cabinets. I'm not saying all of them were the medium density fiberboard, but the majority of them are. So you can work with it, you can fix it. So hey Kayla, thank you for joining us tonight. And you can get some excellent results using these products. So if you're interested in that workshop, which we had to cancel due to the unforeseen virus thing going on, we did bring it live. We did do those cabinet class here with you guys. So just so you guys know that, you can jump over and you can visit that over there on those pages, as well as all of our videos prior to tonight. So tonight what I'm going to do is we're actually going to touch on a few things, how the basics, if you will, of getting started on these different pieces. So each piece I have here is obviously different tones of wood, different colors, and different eras of wood. So some of the pieces are very vintage, which you can kind of see behind me. And then we have this piece here, which is kind of like your Queen Anne style, early English Queen Anne style. And then we have the chair here. This chair here is going to be probably the easiest piece. The hardest part about doing your chair, if you're painting your fabric, which in this case I'm not going to paint the fabric on this because it's been basically just upholstered, but we will come in, we'll tape off, we'll clean. The process is generally the same on each piece, and that's what I wanted to touch on. So when I see a piece like this, and I think you guys can kind of see the little vintage piece behind me, this little table. They all begin in the same process, and that is beginning with our White Lightning cleaner. So I use White Lightning cleaner. This is a powder cleaner, and I do take it, I take a teaspoon, about 2 teaspoons of our White Lightning cleaner and put it in a gallon of water and mix it with warm water, and I put it in these little spray bottles because it's just a little bit handier to use. So what I do is put it in here, shake it up real good, and I mix mine a little bit on the strong side because it does a couple of things for me, and it's gonna do the same thing for you guys. It's going to take down some shine, so it's gonna be kind of a deglosser. It's gonna clean, it's gonna do the cleaning, it's gonna degloss it, and it is going to prep your piece for paint. So the biggest thing that people have issues with is their paint sticking to their pieces. And this looks like a kind of a glossy piece or a shiny piece. And so this is when your paint has an issue with adhering. So you want to knock down your paint, you want to clean it down, you want to get that shine off, and you want to get any Pledge, Old English, or any of that kind of product that's on this piece is what's going to be the problem between your paint and your piece. It's not necessarily the paint, it's more the process. So we want to make sure that all the Pledge and Old English, because this is a nice piece, they have been dusted all their lives. So this piece behind me has been here for a very long time. It's a very old antique table, so you know that's seen some Old English in its day because Old English was really popular, and then maybe some Pledge too along the way. So just so you guys know, the different eras, they're still all have been dusted at some point. So we want to take that down. I do wear my gloves because you don't know what's on these pieces until you start cleaning them. So I'm going to begin with cleaning. I've got several different products out here. I've got the Dixie Belle Boss, and I also have the Slick Stick. So these are sort of my problem pieces, and when you have problem pieces, we have problem solvers to kind of help with us. Sorry for the noise. You guys may hear some cheeping in the background. If you hear some cheeping, we have some hatchlings over there. Bye, girl. And they're on the run. So they're always on the run. She's running off with her dad. So I do wear gloves just to save my hands because I never know all the grim and grind that's going to be coming off these pieces. A lot of times you'll have tobacco smoke. Sometimes, you know, people who have cats, you get cat spray on them. Fortunately, I don't have that problem with any of these pieces that I have here. Now, while I clean, I do take a Scotch-Brite with me. Hey, Kathy, how are you? I do use a Scotch-Brite when I am using my cleaner because it also helps. Not only am I cleaning it, but I'm deglossing it, and then when I'm using my Scotch-Brite while I'm doing it, it also kind of wet sands it. So we're really knocking down several layers of issues that could be going on. So we're getting our piece super ready for paint. That's why you have good results with your paint, be it Dixie Belle paint or whatever paint you use. Of course, obviously, I represent Dixie Belle because that's the company I work for. So that's what the process is. It's normally when people have an issue with their paint sticking to their piece, it's normally because it's not clean. There's something under it. There's something stopping that from happening. And normally that's a grease. So I put the White Lightning cleaner in my piece, and I'm just going to work on this one for now. If I get it nice and clean, I'm going to move to the next one. And we're going to kind of just see this kind of, you can probably kind of see a shine on this piece. I've not done anything to it. This is the way I have it in here, and I do wet my piece. Water is my friend. Now I do, like I said, I have my Scotch-Brite here, and I'm just going to come in here. Mostly I go with the grain of the wood, so let me get behind here. So I'm going to just take my Scotch-Brite and kind of work with it. I call it a Scotch-Brite. It looks like a little scouring pad. And forgive me for my clothes being a mess. I've been painting inside the workshop pretty much all day today, getting some project pieces ready for pickup. So I apologize that I have stains on me, but it all goes with the territory. It's kind of the way it goes. So just so you guys know, this is the beginning stages. And for me, this is the most fun stage, really. I vacuum inside and out all of my pieces, but cleaning my piece, while I'm cleaning my piece, it kind of gives me an idea where I'm going. Now, if I'm working obviously on a client's piece, I know where I'm going because they've already kind of given me the rundown of what they want done. So, that's just kind of work with each individual person. So I'm just coming in here and I'm going to do the front. I really think this is a super cute little piece here. And I'm just going to wet it down. This is my cleaner in here. And I'm going to come in all over this with my Scotch-Brite. So this is normally not the funnest part for most people, but it's one of the most necessary. One of the most necessary is the cleaning aspect, especially in all these little grooves. You'll probably see this piece turn a little bit different in color because I am using this Scotch-Brite and it's going to work on this wood. So I'm going to get in here, and this is kind of when I get to know my piece. I get to know the character of the piece as I'm working on it. I can feel all the grooves and all the curves and all that sort of thing. So that's when the piece sort of gets in my head, starts talking to me about where I'm going to go with it. The more I work on it, the more I kind of get my ideas running. So that's how my ideas develop. They always develop at the very beginning, right here in the cleaning stage of what I want to do to this piece, especially if it's my own piece. Not always is that the case. Majority of the time you are working for clients, so a lot of times we kind of have to guide, and I always, with guidance, I suggest that Pinterest is a great area for you to find kind of your vibe. And then once you kind of find your vibe and your piece, then we can kind of work from there. That's always my first suggestion to most of my clients, because Pinterest has a plethora of information and photographs and things of that nature. So I'm just going to come in here. I'm going to do the front of this piece and see what we can pull off of it. So now I'm going to put my cleaner back on the top. And I don't have to worry too much because nothing around me with the mist is getting on anything other than me. So I started with a clean rag here, and we'll see what we get. So see, we are getting stuff off that piece that we didn't know was there. This one's not too bad, but I promise you when we go to that one, you're gonna see lots of change there. So I'm just going to come in here, I'm going to wipe it back. As you see me clean it, now I'm going to wipe it back. This one's not too bad, but you'll see when we move to the next one. But this is doing several things for us. It's deglossing it, it's taking some of the shine down, if you will. It's cleaning it, and it's getting it ready for paint. So I never paint a piece. They say that you don't have to sand. On some cases you do, like on the medium density fiberboard. That is a case that you have to sand. Whether you like it or not, when it's raised like that and the water damage has been done to it, the only way to fix that is to sand where that water edge has been, where it's been raised. You have to sand that flat, or you know, you're ending up doing different cabinets altogether, and then you have to pay several $1,000s to have your entire kitchen redone. If you want to do it yourself, then you're going to have to put a little bit of effort and elbow grease into that, but trust me, it'll be well worth it, and it's very user friendly once you get all your work done. So you have to invest your time in the work. Obviously with this piece, it's not that bad. This piece is relatively clean, and we can just kind of spin it around. You guys have great ideas on different colors of furniture. Right now it's spring. Happy first day of spring, by the way, to everyone who is with us tonight. Thank you for viewing. Thank you for jumping on here with us. And I can recap a little bit on some of our booth vendor locations. From what I understand, they have recommended, you know, limited amount of people in a space at one time. And like I say, we won't be in there constantly staying in our booths, but we will be bringing in the products so you guys can get in and out. And that will better serve you guys to get your colors, your paint, so that you feel like you can accomplish something. After all, it is spring and we want to spring clean and we want to do some new things. So what perfect time then to be at home being able to accomplish those. So I'm right here. You guys can always message me, send me photos of what you're working on. If you have any questions, you know, I'm right here to guide you. And again, if you need any delivery, we can accomplish that as well. So you see in this very short time, this is a fairly clean piece. I call this a fairly clean piece. However, it does, you know, you see what's on my rag, but that's relatively clean. Because when we jump back here, we'll probably see a whole different story. But then too, this piece here has not been around the block as long as that piece has. But as you can see, as I'm moving it around, you can see where it's deglossed it. It doesn't have near as much shine now. And when it completely dries, it's gonna look like it's already been sanded. Why it looks like that is because we use the Scotch-Brite, or I call it a Scotch-Brite, and these are finishing pads, and they work wonderful when you are using them. They just don't do cleaning in the house, where a lot of people use them for their pots and pans and things like that. But I use them in the workshop, and it kind of like is a beginning of wet sanding on your pieces. So I'm gonna let this one kind of sit to the side, and I'm gonna pull back. And since this rag is not too bad, and we will continue. Now I will be cleaning this chair because this is not as bad either. I can tell just by kind of looking at the pieces, but we're gonna jump to this other piece. And let me move this one out of the way. So obviously I've got all of these in here, all of them trying to get their attention at the same time. It's like little kids in the classroom and they all want your attention. And I'm gonna move that out, set these guys over here. These are our problem solvers. We may or may not need them, but I know for sure we're gonna use Boss on this piece. I can tell because of the age of this piece. Hopefully you guys can see that. I'm gonna kind of bring it in a little bit more. Hopefully you can. So you can hear this one's old. It's good and sturdy. It's just creaking, but you can tell by the age of it just by looking at it. It's definitely a unique little table. On the top of this table, you can see that it has some finishing areas. So all along in here, you can kind of see this was probably a very thin veneer of some form on here. Some water spots, as you can see, maybe from your view. And I feel a little something here. So I'm just kind of assessing it. To me, this is a red wood up under here. So this is probably a solid mahogany piece just by looking at it. So this is a bleeder. So this piece is gonna bleed through your paint. If you paint this in a light color and after you clean it and you paint it, you're gonna come back out tomorrow and it's gonna bleed through your paint and it's gonna be pink. The reason I know that is you can see where the paint's kind of come off here and you can see that that wood is really red. And when you see the red under there, you know that that's gonna be a bleeder. So we've got to stop that. So this is what you call assessing your piece along the way. I haven't touched it yet, I'm just looking at it, and I can already tell I'm gonna have some issues with this piece. Not that it can't be done, but there's this process. And so that's when the Dixie Belle Boss comes into play. So this isn't a problem solver. This is clear Boss, so when I put this on, you're not gonna see it on the piece. It's gonna look clear, but I'm gonna have to use it because if I don't, it's gonna ruin my piece. And it's gonna be my fault because I didn't, take the process, do the right steps that it took to get there. So this is definitely gonna be something I'm gonna have to use here. But for now, first and foremost, always cleaning my piece. So I'm wondering if I need to kind of turn it this way. So I'm gonna get started here and show you guys the same process, okay? So I'm gonna wet it, and I know here's a little piece of veneer missing right here, which is no big deal. I mean, it is and it isn't. So we got problem solvers to fix the veneer, which I use our Dixie Mud. I'm not sure I have it out here with me. Yes, I do. It's over there, I think. So again, I'm coming in here. I sprayed it with my cleaner. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to show you guys exactly what I do. So I'm going to come in all these grooves. And now I'm going to kind of get a feeling for this piece. We'll see how dirty it is as we go along. So I'm just going to do the same process. So tonight it's just prep and process. Obviously every piece is not going to go out of the workshop the very first day it comes in. They're all going to have a little something done to them. So that one is going to be the easiest one of the three. The chair is going to be more time consuming because it's going to be more of a taping job. So it's going to take a little bit of more time, and but it won't be too bad. But it definitely will take time. So I'm just going to work on this piece a step at a time. And let me grab my towel. I think I'll use this one and see what we can pull off of this piece with our cleaner. And just kind of, I am wearing gloves because I wanted to use both hands at the same time. And I did mix my cleaner a little bit strong. So sometimes it can be a little rough on the skin if you do that. And you guys can see. So this was a clean towel. You can see. Well, I got a little red paint on it, but that's okay. But this is how it's coming off. So you guys are going to be able to see. Mostly that's just dirt and probably some dusting wax, some kind of waxing material that we wax this with, or somebody waxed it with, or dusted with, I should say. Pull it around. This one's kind of a creaker, I should say. Not a whiner, but a creaker. Kind of creaking along. So I'm just going to do the same process on the top. So tonight, that's pretty much what I'm showing you guys. I'm just going to give you guys a good rundown on the problem solvers that we would use. Now the products, all the products that I am using in this broadcast are available at our locations. We have multiple locations. As far as I know, Habitat for Humanity, Kernersville, Restore, we have the Nook and Cranny, we have Cooper's Vintage Village. As far as I know, they're all running on the same capacity, but we may be changing up how many people are in those locations at one time. But like I said, it's good to check with those particular locations on what their policy is going to be. But I do know for sure that Just Plain Country is definitely kind of limiting their vendors' stay, I guess. We're going in, we're putting our products out, and we're kind of vacating the building so that our shoppers can get in and get their products, which I think is a good policy. I recommend that, obviously, and I follow those procedures. So if it works, that's what we need to do, just kind of keeping our customers happy, and that's the goal. And a lot of times, the mom and pop operations, you know, are small businesses, and that's the best way for them to keep their revenue coming in as well. So we understand that, and we abide by those policies. So I'm just going to come in here and get this all clean and spin her around. I'll do the bottom part of the table next, but just kind of coming in and showing you guys just the cleaning process. Again, this is White Lightning Cleaner in this spray bottle. So it is a really good cleaner. This is a mahogany table, I can tell. It's got lots of red. Lots of red. And you can see some chipping along in here. The one great thing about the product that I use and the product that I represent with Dixie Belle is that our paint is a chalk mineral based paint. When you have a chalk and a mineral based paint working together, it creates a paint that has a self-leveling properties in it. So I can get by painting this. If I can't feel this with my finger, I'm not going to see it with my eye, and our paint is self-leveling, so it'll level into those spots and you'll never know it was there. Especially if it's really fine, you will get by really well. So that's why I'm assessing my piece before I get started. Once I put the gloss on here, I feel confident that I'll be able to paint over it. It won't bleed through, and any little imperfections. Now, some little imperfections I don't try to take out because it just adds character to my piece. Depends on where I'm going with the piece. If I'm going to put a transfer on it. Sometimes if I'm going to do a crackle, if I'm doing a crackle effect on it, some of those imperfections will never be seen because the crackle effect will trick the eye to where you don't see it. You'll never realize it's there. It'll seem like it's all part of the process. So, that's what I'm saying when you're assessing your piece and you're kind of thinking about where you're going with the piece while you're cleaning it, it kind of helps it evolve into what you're going to do with that piece. So if I see something that looks like a crackle would be a great idea because it has some little imperfections that would just go wonderful with crackle or old world style of painting, then that's what I'm talking about when the piece is speaking to you, what it wants you to do to it. That's how you kind of get in your head what you want to do with your piece. So that's how I assess my pieces. That's how I get my ideas for my piece. Is because I sit here, I feel every groove of the piece, and I kind of just really get to know my piece and decide as I'm working on it where I'm going to go with it. So again, unless I'm working on my client's piece, then of course, I'm kind of getting in the head of my client and suggesting to them sort of what they really want, because a lot of times my customers are think they know what they want, and then you show them a couple of other things, and then you really find out what it was they really were interested in. So sometimes you can get into that too when you're working with custom design work for your clients. So I've run into that. It's just like a hairdresser. When I go to my hairdresser and I say, oh, I want short hair or I want to do short hair, or I'm going to let my hair grow out, or whatever the case may be, they kind of know, and they'll say, yeah, but, remember how you like to wear a ponytail in the summer or wear a scarf in the winter or whatever. They kind of help guide us to what we really want when we think we know what we want, right? So you guys know what I'm talking about. And thank goodness I have a great hairdresser. My hair is a mess now, but she does a wonderful job, and she reminds me different times of the year. Look at what we're getting off of this piece, you guys. So I knew it was dirty. So you see, that's what all of that would have been if I came in here and all I did was paint this piece, because some paints say you don't have to do anything. This is what you're painting into your piece. You really don't want that between your paint and your piece, because that's going to cause imperfections all over your piece. Obviously, it's going to make it look like your paint didn't do a good job. There's a number of things that are going to occur. And so this is a great way to avoid it by always, always, always cleaning your piece. So I'm going to bring this back around and continue to work on the lower part. And I loved the uniqueness of the legs on this piece. So the process is still the same. Wet it down with your cleaner. And like I said, I put pretty good amount of cleaner in mine. I gotta make this table make some noise, but this has such great character to this old table that I think it'll be really kind of cute when it's done. There are some areas on this table. Let me see if I can point you guys down, because it's kind of noisy. I don't really want to touch anything, but let me just kind of point you guys down a little bit so you can see kind of more what I'm working on. So down here on the leg, I think y'all can see, there's some veneer that's chipped right there. I'm going to address that. I'm probably going to pull that veneer, as much of it as I can, off, and then I'm going to come in and level it with our Dixie Mud. So don't let that fear you. if you get a piece that has some loose veneer, you can work with it. Sometimes, in some cases, you can use your Gorilla wood glue, and you can salvage it. And in other cases, you just got to remove it altogether. So it just really depends on the piece you're working on. So just we'll kind of go with it on some of them. So I just kind of mold it with my mud, and that might be a process we'll have to show. I know I have done it on other videos, so you guys can see it on those videos. So basically tonight, I'm just kind of showing you guys the purpose for cleaning. When I tell people, you have to clean your piece really well. And this is the reason I say that, because this is not something you want to paint over. So obviously this is a vintage piece. You saw that piece was not so bad. This chair is not going to be so bad either. But when it comes to cleaning more vintage pieces, and if you're like me, you love the vintage piece, so the process is going to be a little bit different on your piece. You're going to have some peeling. You're going to have some veneer issues. These are things that you can repair and just kind of work through it. And that's the main reason I wanted to come on tonight, just kind of show you guys how important it is to get a good cleaner. This is a whole lot different than just using a 50-50 vinegar water cleaner. Some people use that. For me personally, obviously I'm using our products because I get the best results with them. Prior to using the Dixie Belle cleaner, the paint was a little bit different, and I've kind of evolved my process, obviously, since I've been working with their products, because it just created a far better end result. As you guys have seen, I had a lot of pieces that have been rolling out. Some of them that I just put on the airways tonight because they have been sitting in here curing. And it's very important to me that they get their cure time so that when they are leaving, like a couple of pieces we'll be doing this week, is so that I know they're going to leave, and my customers and clients are going to be super happy with them because they got their cure on a little bit, and you're not going to move it. And see, I'm cleaning right now, and I hit the back of this, and here's a couple of pieces of the veneer that's popping off, possibly salvageable, maybe not, we'll find out. But that's on the bottom, on the feet. So I have noticed that there's a few places like that, and don't let that fear you. I will do us a video on that, and I have done videos on it before. When it's just chipping veneer, it's not necessary for me always to use a Bondo. Most of the time I can get by with using our Dixie mud, and it's tough enough. In some cases, when I am fabricating new pieces, then I go to my Bondo because it's just more of a tenacious product. It's a better bonding agent for areas that are, let's say this area on this foot that was broken. I would use a Bondo there because I know it's going to be much more sound as far as structure goes. And anytime you're mopping or vacuuming and you're bumping it, I don't want you to knock it off and break it. So if you use Bondo, that's not going to happen. In lighter fabrications and lighter mending problems, like in this case, you can get away with your Dixie mud because it's not going to be in a structural issue area. So it's just little tidbits along the way that we can kind of show you. But I just wanted to come in and show you guys the importance of cleaning and cleaning and cleaning your piece. So I'll probably come back in and clean the top of this piece again. Obviously, I'm going to paint this. I'm not necessarily going to restain it. However, I would definitely suggest, if you have a piece like this, that you definitely want to boss it, because this is going to be a bleeder. And what I mean by that is it's going to bleed through your paint. So just bear that in mind. Even if you did a black paint, there's still a good tendency that you will see some pink coming through on that. So just to save yourself all of that hassle, you might not want to skip that step. You will make sure you get you some Boss on there. So that's all about what I wanted to come and show you guys tonight. Get you some good cleaner, get your pieces cleaned really well, and you're gonna have the best results using our products or any other product out there. So I'm gonna let you all go. I hope you all have a very blessed evening. I hope you all stay safe. Again, message us if you need any particular product. I'm sure at all of our locations they would be happy to meet you and get those products to you, and that way we can keep you guys busy while you are at home. Hopefully we can renew some cabinets, get some of those powder rooms done, and maybe even get a couple of bedroom sets and things of that nature, since we are sort of being self-quarantined along the way. So you guys, hope you have a very blessed weekend. We will be back here on Tuesday evening, show you where we have gotten on some of these pieces, and hopefully everything will kind of settle down soon and we can all get back to our normal everyday activities. So until then, I'm going to sign off and hope you all have a very blessed weekend. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. We'll see you again Tuesday. Bye-bye, guys.